Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club and the Let's Talk to Cutler, excuse me, Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube platform and the Let's Talk to Cutler. Let's spend these 1800 seconds together live on these Tuesdays. It is 2026, y'all. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. As you're making your way on, just go ahead and tell people where you're from and just say Happy New Year. Say hello to people and say Happy New Year. Say something. But in case you're stopping by for the first time, here's one thing that hasn't changed. We are here, all of us. I'm here, you're here, because we're having conversations about what can we do to make sure that we challenge each other. What can we do to make sure that we inspire and motivate and encourage each other? But when it comes to challenging, making sure that we challenge each other to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. That hasn't changed. That's going to happen in 2026. Each time you see me here, it's always going to be my goal to make sure that I push each of us to show up the best version of ourselves in even in the worst of situations, because life happens. I shared with someone over this weekend that life is lifing, and the math is not mathing, the money is not money, but the bills are building, the people peopling. So we're going to have conversations that just really come to encourage and motivate us and do all that kind of stuff. Again, it is the new year. I'm so thankful that I made it through the holidays. I had a fantastic time. The holidays were absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed every single moment. I enjoyed all of the holiday festivities, the gatherings, the food, the decorations. But most importantly, I enjoyed the people. I enjoyed the people that I got a chance to spend the holidays with. So I hope you did as well. Tell me if you did something fun. Tell me if you've taken down your decorations. Now, speaking of holidays, I have to tell you about a tradition, but I'll tell you about that tradition in just a moment. If you join it for the first time, again, know that just we're here offering things that are motivational, inspirational, and challenging. Also know that I would love for you to go ahead and subscribe. And after you subscribe, then click on the notification bell wherever it is on your device, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live. And I would love for you to be a part of the community that encourages people to come on and let's talk to Cutler, because we're talking about real things, real situations, real life, real people, and real ways to maneuver and navigate life. All right. In a moment, I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs. Those are the first three people that I see in the chat. I see people that are on, but they haven't quite made it into the chat yet. So I'll give you a chance to make your way over into the chat. Yeah, I can see that you're on. So come on and excuse me, make your way over to the chat. Meanwhile, let me just say this, speaking of the holidays, happy Merry Old Christmas. Have you all ever heard of Old Christmas? Let me know if you've ever heard of Old Christmas. I'm not going to dwell on that long, but I'm just curious to know how many people have ever heard of Old Christmas. When I was growing up, my family had a tradition whereby we did not take the Christmas decorations down until January 6th, which is today. It's Old Christmas. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out where that came from. I thought maybe it was an ethnic or cultural thing. I wasn't sure. I thought it was more ethnic than cultural. So I wasn't sure where it derived. But as I got older, I realized, and this was something that my great grandfather and his siblings, excuse me, held to over the holidays. They didn't take their decorations down until January 6th, and they made sure that they observed January 6th as a time of festivities and as a time to commemorate what was called Old Christmas. Now, I had no idea what Old Christmas was all about. You all let me know if you've heard of Old Christmas, excuse me. I'm not going to talk about Old Christmas this whole time, but I'm curious, how many of you have ever heard of Old Christmas? Excuse me. What I realized is that as people were counting the days following the marked birth of Christ, or certainly the time that's on the calendar, Christmas Day, that by the time the Magi, the wise men, got to the baby Jesus, that took about 12 days. And the day that they got there is now called on Jewish calendars and in some certain calendars, it's called Epiphany. And Epiphany takes place, it's marked on the calendar as January 6th. But that's also the day that my great grandfather and his siblings and my family have come to celebrate Old Christmas. It is the day of Epiphany. Count this and check this out. You hear the song, the 12 days of Christmas, on the first day of Christmas, not true, brought to me, da, da, da. By the time you count the 12 days of Christmas, with Christmas Day starting as the 12th day, then by the time you get to the 12th day, it's Epiphany. It is Epiphany. So just hang on to that. I just thought that's absolutely incredible. So hey, Merry Old Christmas and Happy Epiphany and all of those things. 12 days of Christmas, Kwanzaa and all. Happy everything. It's just a time to be happy. All right. So yeah. So let me know if you all have ever heard of Old Christmas. Let's see. I've never heard of Old Christmas. 6 Janvier is the day after my birthday. Well, happy belated birthday to you. I have a cousin and a niece who celebrated their birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to you, McDiner. But yeah, so take a look at the calendar and look at Epiphany. So even if you don't see Old Christmas, you will at least see Epiphany on January 6th. Epiphany sort of goes right along hand in hand with what we called Old Christmas. Well, enough of that. I hope you all had a wonderful time. One of my events was I hosted. I have a cousin's Christmas for first cousins on my dad's side, and this year about 27 of us got together at my home, and lots of food, fun. I mean, festivities, just so much fun. So much fun. All right. But I want to move on as we are now in this new year, you all. I want to move on, and it's not lost on me that as we are just 6 days into the year, some people did not make it into the new year. I'm meeting with some of my colleagues, and here we are. This is just the second day into the first full week of the new year, and 4 of my colleagues have attended funerals already. Take care of yourselves. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's another strand of, I don't know if it's another string of COVID. I don't know if it's another strand of the flu, but I understand that there are some strands of the flu that are not responsive to the flu vaccine. So make sure that you take care of yourself, you all. Whatever you do, make sure that you take care of yourself. Encourage people in your community, in your space, in your circle, in your family to take care of themselves as well. And then here's another note. I want to just pause and just acknowledge and make a special tribute to the legendary, speaking of the loss, the legendary, the iconic gospel music writer, arranger, composer, vocalist, the one and only Richard Smallwood. So I wanted to just pay tribute to him. Just an iconic and amazing person who gave us songs that's very popular, and not only in the gospel music arena, but songs like "I Love the Lord," which Whitney Houston made popular by singing it on The Preacher's Wife. Songs like "Jesus, You're the Center of My Joy," "Total Praise," and just a whole lot of other things. So I just wanted to pay respect and homage to the iconic and the incomparable Richard Smallwood. It's just, sometimes you want to say that certain people are lost for a certain group, but an amazing musician who was able to blend gospel and classical music, and just so iconic. If you get a chance and you don't know who he is, just Google Richard Smallwood. I'm sure you've heard his music. I'm sure you have. Who happened to be, he and I had something in common in that we both attended Howard University. Richard is older than I, but he attended Howard University. He's a 2-time graduate. He did his undergraduate degree there, and he did his master's of divinity there. But anyway, just wanted to offer that. Did that? That's not a bring me down moment, but that's just a moment to pay tribute to someone who impacted, whose music and whose gift here on earth impacted my life. So much for that. Just want to get that out. Now, by the way, you all, as we're talking about taking care of ourselves and making sure that we stay healthy and whole and all that stuff, I want to suggest something to you. As you're starting this year off, you all hear me quite often. I say this: we're here to make sure that we show up the best version of ourselves, even in the worst of situations. But let me just shout out the LTTC VIPs, the LTT VIPs, LTTC VIPs, and then I'm going to take off and go somewhere because I want to make sure. I mean, take off and go somewhere in the conversation, not leave the scene. But I want to make sure that we really do start this year off by focusing on how do I become the best version of me? How do I make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to do, to become the best version of myself? Let me just start by shouting out Annie Cutler, who says, let's ride. McDonough, who says, Happy New Year. And I never heard of Old Christmas. January 6th is the day after my birthday. So again, McDonough, happy birthday to you. And then, so the first person we said was Annie Cutler, then McDonough, and then third person was Paula D. So happy New Year to everybody. I see you all. I see you on, and I'm glad to see you. Tell somebody to come on, Let's Talk the Color, because we're going to have a conversation now about how to start the year off by focusing on the best you, to be the best you can. We often talk about it, but have we stopped in a moment? It's been a while since we stopped to say, what does that mean? What does that look like? Because we've been talking and talking and talking, but the question has not come up in terms to say, hey, can you stop and just talk about what does that mean? How do we show up as the best version of ourselves? I mean, what is it that we can do in a practical, realistic way, Cutler? Don't just come up with a whole lot of crazy things, but in a practical, realistic way. What can we do to show up the best version of ourselves? I'll tell you, yeah, I do have some examples, and I do have some things that we can do. And I want to talk about that because I'm so very serious about making sure that we do what we can to show up the best version of ourselves, because life is happening. Life is happening, and I want us to be intentional about living. Of course, one of the things that I encourage us to have done over this holiday is to have done an inventory. And I'll talk about that perhaps the next time we meet in this space. An inventory. Have you taken an inventory of your life lately? Have you taken an inventory of the people and the things and the situation and the circumstances that are in your life, the things that no longer need to be in your life? Again, we may talk about this later. I think I shared last year with the onset of the new year. One of my cousins had this quote that I borrowed from her, and I told her I would never give it back. She says, she posted, she's on a social media page, said, hey, I've made a lot of changes. I'm making some new changes this year. I'm making some changes. And if you don't hear from me, you're one of the changes that I made. Well, we'll talk about that because it's funny. It sounds like, it sounds kind of crass just a bit, but we have to think about those things. The fact of the matter is, the lesson that we glean from that is, are we doing the inventory of the things and the people and the circumstances and situations in our lives? We'll talk about it. But I want to get back to, how do I make sure that I am the best version of myself? Cutler, you've been talking a long time. That's because I'm just glad to see you all. But let's talk about this thing, y'all. To show up the best version of yourself in 2026, one of the things that I want us to all do is to focus on the daily actions that we can take. What are the things that we can do that regulates and it improves, it helps us to be a better version of ourselves? What can we do to build even physical vitality? What can we do to make sure that we protect our mental energy? What can we do in terms of this whole brand nowadays called wellness? What is it that we can do? I'll tell you some of the things you all can do, you all. And you may have to invite and share this link with people and tell them to come back and take a look at these things, because here's the things that we can do to make sure that we prioritize being better. One of the things, when you start your days, when you start your mornings, try to start your mornings phone free. I know that's a challenge. I know if I were in a Baptist church, I may not get many amens right along there, but I'm telling you all, I know it's a challenge because we've gotten to the point in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I know people who wake up and the first thing they grab is their phone. Oh my goodness, you all, and I'm not demoralizing or lambasting anybody or judging you because you do that. But if you want to become the best version of yourself, I offer you the suggestion of starting your morning as a quiet morning, a phone-free quiet morning for at least maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Just start your day off as a quiet day. Maybe the first 20, 30 minutes. Use that time for just some quiet, a quiet moment of breathing, deciding what you're going to do with the day, how you're going to spend the day. How about that? So just start your day with some quiet time. Quiet moment of meditation, quiet moment of whatever you do, even just a quiet moment of quietness. But just start your day so that you can center yourself, and so that you can be mindful and present of the space where you are. And I don't mean looking around saying, oh, I know where I am. No, no, no. I'm talking about being in a space and you decide what kind of space you're going to be in. Am I going to be in a space of gratitude today? Have you ever seen people just wake up and it seems like they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed? They just woke up. They woke up nasty. They woke up attitudinal. They woke up mad. They woke up angry. They woke all things like that. But I believe that if we're going to be the best version of ourselves, and we are intentional about trying to make sure we are the best version of ourselves, when you wake up and don't say a word. Unless you have unless you got a spouse or mate, then certainly wake up and say hi, good morning, and whatever your typical morning greeting is. Yes, do that. But in terms of just grabbing the phone or grabbing something, no. Why don't you just settle for a moment and settle in that moment? Be present and say, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm in a space of gratefulness. I'm in a space of gratitude. So when you wake up, don't wake up attitude. Again, please don't put it in the chat. But how many of us know people who just seem to wake up, they just wake up nasty, wake up mean, wake up attitudinal, wake up disgusted and disgusting. People just wake up and you think, well, did you get a good night's sleep? Are you glad to be alive? Are you glad to be here? What happened in your dreams, in your mind as you were asleep that caused you to wake up in such a nasty disposition? Did you go to sleep like that in that nasty disposition? Anyway, if we're going to be the best version of ourselves, y'all, just try to start with a phone-free quiet morning for 20 to 30 minutes as a practical matter. Just try that. And then after you sat in a space to decide what kind of day you're going to have and you're intentional about the kind of day that you're going to have, what about then you start move your body for at least 15, 20 minutes. Doesn't matter what you're going to do, whether it's a brisk walk, whether you're stretching. I'm telling you, one of the things you might want to do is start stretching. I hope this is just not falling on deaf ears, you all. I'm so serious. And I hope we're not having this conversation and you all are saying, oh, Cutler, those are some good points. And then the day takes off and you all don't apply any of these things. I'm telling you, this stuff works. Wake up in the morning and stretch. After you sat there in solitude and quietness for a moment, stretch. But perhaps you want to stretch after you take a shower, if you take a hot shower, because it sort of loosens those muscles a bit. But what about a nice, get your body moving? Stretch, a short walk. Something that helps with cardiovascular health. So just do that. And before you start ingesting a whole lot of junk, a whole lot of stuff, what about hydrating yourself just with a nice glass of water? Drink some water before you drink your tea, before you drink your coffee. Before, Cutler, are you serious? Yes. And I know there's some people who say, water doesn't settle well in my stomach the first thing, but if you can drink water and let water, something pure, be the first thing that goes into your system. Not sugar, not caffeine, not chemicals, no. Drink water. Let water be the first thing in the morning. It hydrates you. And I know some people are going to fuss at me about this. But one of the things, I just grew up like this and I had to do this. And so it's still a part of my routine. I'm going to say, practice your morning routine. Now, for me, that means making my bed. I would say, tell me this, tell me just in the chats if you make your a bed every day. But I'm not going to say that because people are going to come on, they're going to say, oh, let me go directly to the comments and see who makes a bed and who doesn't. But for me, I make my bed. I have to make my bed because I like the feeling of getting into a made bed in the evening. So whenever I get ready to recline for the evening. I just like that feeling. Because for me, it's just a small amount of time. And here's something for me, and maybe this is just maybe this is my idiosyncratic need, but making my bed gives me a chance to celebrate a win early in the morning, because celebrating that win, it means that I was orderly, I put stuff back in order, and I can celebrate that win. I like the way it looks, and I leave my bedroom feeling good about how it looks. And for me, that's just a win. It makes me feel good about getting the day started. All right. Now, I'm just curious, do you all make your bed in the morning? Do you make your bed every day? And then here's something we just don't do, but read something. Feed your curiosity, feed your imagination, feed your intellect, read something. How many of us go throughout the whole day and we don't pick up anything to read? The only thing we read are the captions at the bottom of the TV, if we read that at all. Some of us don't even turn on the captions of the TV. And when the news stuff is flashing across the TV, we might read that. But if we don't, we'll turn the volume up so we can listen and hear. But how many of us read? It frightens me, and I'm so serious about this, y'all. It frightens me that as we get older, we read less. Because what does that do? As you get older and when you read less, it means that you stop challenging, you stop using certain parts of your brain. Don't do that. That worries me, that scares me, that frightens me. And I don't want you all to fall in that trap. Yes, I'm talking to you, each of you who have logged in. I want you to at least read something every day. Read something, exercise your brain, exercise your mind. And for you to say, I don't have time. No, we have time. We have to make time. If we're going to be so serious about making sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, and we're going to do what we can to present our best selves, we're going to take time. We're going to be intentional about doing all of this. We have to make sure that we do this, you all. And here's something else. I offer you all this. When I was growing up, my mom and my grandparents, they would say to my brothers and me, go outside and get some fresh air. It does not matter whether it was winter, spring, summer, or fall. They would say, go outside and get some fresh air. I want to encourage you all, spend about 15 minutes outdoors. What are you doing? What, Cutler, so why does that help? What am I doing? Well, one, you are exposing your eyes to natural daylight. You're getting fresh air. What if I'm in an area that's polluted? Well, you're still getting oxygen. Just get outside. Because by getting fresh air, by getting oxygen, by getting the sunlight, you're getting some of the nutrients that you need. You're getting the oxygen that you need. How is that helpful, Color? Well, it helps to regulate your sleep cycles. It helps to regulate your mood. It helps to regulate your stress hormones. It's very helpful. Spend about 15 minutes outside. Some people, so if you have a house that allows you to walk out on the porch, to walk out on the lanai, walk out on the deck, walk out, just walk out and spend about 15 minutes outdoors. Have we forgotten about that? And the health benefits of just being outside, getting fresh air, getting renewed, and just helping with your vitality and your vigor and all of that? Have we done that? I want us to think about those things. And here's something, you know how sometimes we procrastinate? I'm going to help us today because we sometimes procrastinate. When it comes to this year, you all, if you're really interested in being your best self, how about this? Here's a 3-minute rule. Cutler, what is the 3-minute rule? If you have something to do and it takes 3 minutes or less, go ahead and do it immediately. If it takes 3 minutes or less, go ahead and do it immediately. If it takes 3 minutes or less to return a phone call, if it takes 3 minutes or less to respond to a text message, if it takes 3 minutes or less to do whatever it is that you're doing in the moment, go ahead and do it so that way you don't procrastinate. Because the more you procrastinate, then the more things you procrastinate about. And the more things you procrastinate about, the more things that you tend to forget and you tend to keep putting off. But let's not do that. Think. Reminded me and encouraged me and challenged me that if it can be done in 3 minutes, I just need to go ahead and do it and get it out of the way. And then let's eat right. Get you one good balanced meal a day, for real, y'all. Just one good balanced meal a day. I know it should be breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I'm telling y'all, a lot of times we don't eat perfect meals every day, all day, but at least focus on one good meal that prioritizes things like lean proteins and fruits and vegetables. And you just want to think about, okay, have at least one good meal. Have at least one good meal every day, because that's going to help regulate your energy levels. That's going to be good for digestion. It's going to be good for you. So think about one balanced nutritional meal. All right. And then here's something else that I want us to think about, you all. Again, oh, y'all, please don't just log off when I say this. But I want us to think about setting technological boundaries. Setting some technological boundaries. Now, you don't have to take the phone to bed with you every night. You don't have to take the phone to bed every night. You don't have to sit there and scroll on social media when you're trying to fall asleep. Next thing you know, you fall asleep and the phone plops you in the face because no. You don't have to do that. Because when you take the phone with you in bed and you're scrolling, it's just that some have called it this micro stress on your nervous system. And we don't need to do that. We're stressing our bodies out. We're stressing our systems out. Just take a technological break. Take a technological break. And here's something that I really encourage us to do throughout the year. Make sure that you practice some emotional check-ins. Stop and ask yourself, what's going on with me? What am I feeling? How am I processing this? What's going on in my heart? And what's going on in my mind right now? And then as you're going through those moments, because sometimes I'm telling you, we're going to go through some of these blah moments. I told you all that coworkers of mine, at least 4 coworkers of mine have been to a funeral. And here we are just in the second day of the first full day of the week of the new year. Take a moment and just check in with yourself. Check in with your emotional self. And when you're going through things, try to name the emotion that you're feeling and how intense is it. Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling loneliness? Am I feeling discouragement? Am I feeling anger? Am I feeling anxiety? Am I feeling happiness? Am I feeling joy? And put a label on it. And then say on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense is this thing that I'm feeling? Because this is going to help you in terms of responding. Remember, I've said this for the past few years. It is how we respond that matters. And when you can understand, when you can be present, and one of the ways that you're going to become present is because you will have practiced early in the morning. Those quiet moments where you are intentional about your day, you become centered and you're intentional about what's going to happen during your day. So when you've become quiet and centered and intentional about what's going to happen during your day, when something kind of goes off kilter, you're going to step back and say, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? What am I experiencing right now? And how intense is this? And as you're going through things, learn to talk to yourself, and learn to talk to yourself with kindness and compassion and love. Learn to talk to yourself with kindness and compassion and love and forgiveness. I want us to think about these things, you all. And then as you get to the end of each day, and I got to get out of here, you all, but I hope these are practical things that are helping us. And if we're talking about becoming the best version of ourselves every single day, because life is just doing what it does, and we can't stop life from doing what it does. We can't stop trouble from knocking on our doors. We can't stop heartache from coming our way. We can't stop headaches from coming into our life. It is going to happen. But one of the things that we can do is to practice mindfulness, and we can practice these things that I'm suggesting. These are practical things that we can do. Honestly, y'all, you all can't tell me that you can't do these, because I know that we can. And if you can't do, I don't know how many I've mentioned with this 10. If you can't do all 10, I know you can at least do 8. We can start by doing some of these things. We don't need to let the whole year go by and we don't do anything different. We're going to end up doing the same old things that we did last year. No, I want to be better. I really do want to be better. It's just not me sitting behind this desk and sitting in front of this camera talking to you all. Cutler, I want to be better than I was last year. And so here's some things that I'm going to do. I'm going to do a whole lot of these things, if not all of the ones that I've mentioned today. I'm going to speak to myself in kindness. I'm going to make sure that I stop taking the phone because I do have a habit. I'll grab the phone and I'll just say, all right, let me just take a last look and see what's going on. Let me take a look at this last email while I'm in bed. Let me take this last social media post while I'm, no, stop that. And yes, early in the morning, because here's one of the things that I do. I use my phone as my alarm. And so once I use my phone as my alarm, then that's my excuse to grab the phone and just say, oh, anybody text me? No, I'm not that important to see if anybody's texting me overnight. If they did, it's going to show up on my notifications. But as you go throughout the day, here are things that we can do, you all, to show up. And this has nothing to do with anybody else but us. And that way, when I get to the end of the day, what am I going to do? I'm going to reflect on the day every night. When I get to the end of the day, I'm going to reflect on the day each night. And sometimes I might even jot down what went well, what made me thrill, what made me happy, or if there's something I need to work on tomorrow, something I need to improve. So that way you don't end up on emotional autopilot. No, I'm intentional about what I'm going to do. So when I reflect on each day at the end of the night, I now know what I have to do in the morning. And what is that going to do? That's going to help with my mood. So that way I don't wake up mad and disgusted and angry in the morning. No, I wake up intentional. If I'm blessed to see the next day, I wake up intentional and I focus in the quietness of that moment and say, here are the things that I'm going to do. I wrote them down last night. I remember, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm just trying to help us, you all. I may just pick up with these and just still keep moving on in addition to talking about how to make sure we've done a people, person, and kind of situational inventory as we start the new year. I just want to help us become settled and get this thing right. Let's keep doing what we do, you all. Thank you all so much for doing what you have always done. I thank you for the support. I really, really, really do. And I'm so thankful for it because it encourages me. So let's do this. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's keep your heads up and keep your hopes up. Make sure that you stay safe and stay sane. Make sure that you focus on being the very best you that you can, because guess what? Nobody can beat you at being you. And if they try to be you and you know that they're trying to be you, just say, nope, role is already taken. All right, go on with your best self, and I will see you the next time. And just know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Until the next time I see you all, make sure you go and tell somebody, come on and let's talk the color. The man is just trying to help save our lives. Good night, everybody.